Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to my Facebook Live, Creating Cards with Debbie. I'm glad that you're able to be here. Be sure that you comment when you come on, and let me go ahead and bring my iPad up so I can watch my comments. Okay. I'm just going to give a moment or so for everybody to get here. Hope you're all doing well. I hope you're going to enjoy the cards that we're going to be doing tonight. I kind of got the theme of being kind of fall cards. So being tomorrow is the first day of fall, so I guess we need to get ready for it. I'm just going to give a moment here for everybody to get here. I may have came on a little bit early. I guess I can go ahead and turn you around here and we can go through all the housekeeping stuff. Close your eyes if you get dizzy. Oh, and I need to plug in my phone before I forget also, so let me do that too. Hoping we don't have any technical difficulties this evening. I'm hoping Facebook is nice to me tonight. And like I said, be sure you comment so I know that you're here. Okay. And I'm going to get my lighting going over here. And I'm just going to watch my screen to see how this looks. I have a little bit of a delay on my iPad, so bear with me. I think we can zoom just a tiny bit. Bring that up just a hair. I think I can move just a little bit. Get it in the full screen. Okay, that looks pretty good. I got a little bit of a froggy throat tonight, so my throat's kind of dry, so I'm hoping I can get through the whole program without being too much of a frog. Okay, my video's going off and on again, but I guess that's fairly normal. Okay, like I said, my name is Debbie Foster. I'm creating cards with Debbie, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! demonstrator, and I'm located in Bismarck, Arkansas. And you can shop in my store for any of the products that we're doing today, or any Stampin' Up! Products that you might be in need of. And shop in my store, the web address is www.debbiefoster.stampinup.net. And if you need to email me any questions, you can reach me at creatingwithdebbie179@gmail.com. And my blog address will have all the instructions on all the cards that we do, is www.creatingwithdebbie179.blogspot.com. So if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to send me an email or private message me, either one, and I'll be glad to answer any concerns or questions you might have. Okay, and I want to remind everybody that celebration is still going on for just a few more days. You've got until September 30th to order something and be able to get your free items. So the Bedazzling 6x6 paper, specialty paper, has sold out, so that's no longer available. But everything else is still available, so it's all while quantities last. So you might want to get your order going before, and make sure that you get what you want. And then with the celebration going on, Stampin' Up! Has got a new promotion going on that if you join my team, you can get a free bundle on top of that $99 kit, which you pay $99 for the kit. You get to pick out any products that you want. And on top of that $99, they'll bump it up to $125 worth of products. And plus you'll get a free bundle of your choice. And those bundles can range all the way up to $60.25. So there's like 12 different bundles that you can choose from, and that's in the back of the book. It's on page 19. It shows right underneath the embossing machine, stamp and emboss machine. So like I said, that's $99 for the kit, but you'll get $125 worth of products, plus the free bundle, which could be all the way up to $60.25. And besides all that, you'll also receive a free pumpkin, paper pumpkin. So you're looking at probably like $207 worth of product for only $99. And that includes free shipping too. So that's another little added bonus. Let me get my book out of there. And we've gone through that, we've gone through that. Paper Pumpkin is a monthly kit that you can subscribe to. And this is the October Paper Pumpkin. I always get confused which month it is. We're a month ahead. So it's called Special, or Peaceful Christmas Paper Pumpkin. And you can sign up for that until October 10th. And we never know exactly what's going to be in the kit, but they do give us some hints. And it says, the kit contains enough elements to create 10 Christmas cards, 5 each of 2 designs, and coordinating envelopes. This all-inclusive kit includes printed card bases, die-cut paper pieces, embellishments, adhesive, and more. October's kit arrives in a cute collectible box covered with enchanting evergreen trees. Use the special limited edition box to store your holiday handicrafts or transform it into a well-wrapped package for a present. The kit contents pairs perfectly with the Peaceful Place Sweet Collection. To continue your Christmas crafting, combine the kit's components with the sweets patterned paper, shimmery sequins, and more. And the card sizes are 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches, and the envelope sizes are 4 1/2 by 5 3/4 inch. And that's called the Peaceful Christmas. Okay, I want to see if I want to just tell you anything else about that. If you have any questions, be sure to ask me. And in the description of my video, it also has the link that you can click on to subscribe to the Paper Pumpkin also. So, but if you have questions other than that, you can just message me, email me. Okay, and my video's going off and on my iPad, so I'm hoping everything's good on your side. Okay, so let's see, which one do we want to start with? I think we're going to start with this card. It's kind of a fall theme, but it's also a get well card. And needless to say, we do need some get well cards occasionally. So it says get well soon. And on the inside it says praying blankets of healing around you. I was trying to read that upside down. That's why I kind of stumbled on that. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to get my bits and pieces out here. And we're going to have to do a little bit of embossing with our big boss. So, our mama boss. we've got, and I've done all the die cutting, I think, ahead of time, so we should be fine with that. I'm looking for the stamp set here because I'm using different cards here tonight. Misplaced my stamp set. There it is. It's hiding. We're using the Nature's Harvest stamp set, and the dies that we're going to be using come from the Harvest dies, and this is a 2-pack of dies. It has let me see how many's in here. There's 8 dies total in this, so it's a large die packet. Let me show you. We've got the sunflower, or the coneflower, I think that is, and then we've got this flower, and then the little sprigs, and then it also has these on this side, little tree branches, labels, and this cuts out the flowers. So I really like this one. It's got a lot of uses. Okay, so let's get started. And I'm also using the Through It Together is where I'm getting the Get Well Soon, and then also the inside, which is the Praying for Blankets of Healing around you and yours. But I blocked off the and yours. We're not going to use the last portion of that. We're going to tape it and ink it and shorten it up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start out with our cinnamon cider cardstock, and that measures just our basic 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches, and then scored in the middle at 5 1/2 inches. Stuff mixed up here. Those are the same. Okay. Okay, one of these is for the inside, so I'm just going to set that aside for right now. So I've got crumb cake, which measures, let me get my dimensions out here. The cinnamon cider was 4 1/4 inches by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. The crumb cake is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and that's going to be one mat on there. And then we've got Evening Evergreen, which measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches, and that's going to be another mat on there. So this is going to have a few layers to it. And then we've got another crumb cake that we're going to be doing our stamping and embossing on, and that's going to be 3 1/2 inches by 4 3/4 inches. So let's set that all aside. We're just going to start doing our stamping. Because we're going to stamp first, and then we're going to emboss it afterwards. So let me get a piece of scrap paper over here to do our stamping on, so I don't mess up my surface. I put a brand new one down tonight. And I'm using the Early Espresso ink. Hope everybody's doing well. We've been getting some rain showers off and on today. We need the much needed rain, so I'm not complaining. And I'm going to kind of angle this coneflower, and we're going to put 2 of those down. We're going to put one off to the right side at one angle, and then we're going to angle it another direction for the other side. And okay. And then I've got the little smudge stamp that comes in that stamp set also. And we're just going to stamp those off, and then we're going to stamp them directly. So it's going to be the second generation, it's called. So you stamp off once and then stamp. And we're just kind of going all the way around our flowers here, kind of filling in the bare spaces. And I'm kind of turning it each time I stamp, so it's not all uniform at all. So I think I'm going to put some smaller ones in here just to fill in some spots. And another one right there. I think I'm going to put another one above the flowers, kind of squeeze it in there, just to fill in that blank space a little bit. I'm going to close our ink pad and set my scrap paper aside. We're going to bring in the time-worn type 3D embossing folder, and I'm going to have to get up and grab my 3D plate here, but let me get this all put in here first. The 3D folders, all the embossing folders, they have a kind of a line that goes across. So that's kind of good because we can line up our project to make sure it's straight. So we just line up the line. And it moved on me, so I'm going to turn it over and do it this way. And then close it. And let me get my plate over here. And we'll bring the Mama Boss over here. And she's a little bit bigger than the Baby Boss, so she's going to take a little bit more room here. And when you run your embossing folders, you want to make sure you put the fold side in first, because there's a chance that you could break the fold there. Oops. And we're only going to use the base plate, which is the number 1. And we put our folder down, and then we put this is the number 4 base, which is used for the 3D embossing plates. And we have that same plate for the Baby Boss too, so it's just that it's smaller. And run that through. Be sure you say hi when you come on so I can see who's here. Hi Paula, glad you're here. I haven't seen you for a long time. It looks like you've been doing a lot of traveling. So, I'm kind of envious of you. Looks like you're having a good time. Alright, so we're going to set that aside. And I think that's the only time I have to use the boss. So we're going to set that aside for a while. So here's the embossed image that we've already stamped. And when you're going to emboss anything, you want to make sure you do your stamping first. And I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. It's kind of a faint typing. I guess that's why they call it the, what was it called again? The time-worn 3D embossing folder. But there we have that. And now we're going to bring in our elements all here. I've already die cut the little sprig here, which I cut that using, it's the rose gold, or the gold and rose gold 6x6 specialty paper. It's really pretty, and the rose gold is it looks rose gold. It's got like a pinkish tint to it. Let me get that out and see if I can show that to you. And it might help if I could open the right side here. And yeah, it's kind of a pinkish, where the other one is more of a gold. You can see the difference in the two. Very, very pretty. And it's like glitter paper, but it's smooth, so nothing comes off. So at this pack, you'll get 8 sheets, 6x6. You get 4 of each color. So it's very pretty. Okay, so we're going to start gluing here. I've already cut out the little flower sprig here using the Evening Evergreen. So that's going to be one of our layers. And then I got a little tree branch here that I've cut out using the Early Espresso cardstock, and then this one using the gold. So we're just going to layer those all down here. I'm going to start with the green, the Evening Evergreen. And put some glue on there. Be sure you like and share the video with your friends and everything and like it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, which I'll be putting it on YouTube tomorrow, be sure that you hit that little subscribe button and that you hit the bell, and that way you'll get notifications when I upload the videos. So I do one a week, so always something different every week. So we're going to put down the green, the Evening Evergreen, and then we're going to put down the little tree branch here. And this is Early Espresso cardstock that I used for the branch. And I'm just placing a little glue here and there on the branches. You don't need to cover the whole thing, just to make it stay in place a little bit. And that's going to kind of go off to the side. And a little bit over the Evening Evergreen flower. Alright, and then we're going to put glue on the bottom and the back side of this. And the same with that too. I'm not going to cover the whole thing. I'm just going to put in the larger areas, just enough to hold it down. And put a little dot there, some dots right there. Okay. And we're just going to place that down over the top. I'm getting glue all over the place here. I think I had a little too much glue there. Okay, clean up my fingers a little bit, that glue. Oops. Yeah, it's not sticking very well. Okay. I got glue on my fingers. Trying to rub it off. Okay, and then we're going to use our linen thread. And I'm just going to wrap that around 2 times. And then we're going to tie a bow to the left-hand side. Jumped away from me there. Oh, and there it goes on the floor. I'm going to have to go hunt that down later. Under my desk. If I don't get it, the cat will. So he might like that. Alright, so we're just going to tie a knot on that side just to hold it in place until we come back for the rest of it. I like to tie it in a knot when I want to tie a bow, because that way I know it's not going to move on me. And get my snips out here. And then True Test is going to be tying a bow on screen. And I guess I didn't go too far. Let me grab that. Okay. So let me see how I do with the bow. I'm just going to tie a tiny bow on the left-hand side. And pull my strings back down. This is the time I feel like I got fumble fingers. Okay, I wanted my tails to go the other way, so maybe they'll straighten out. There we go. Okay, so now we got a little strip of crumb cake, and that measures 1/2 inch. And I'm not going to give the measurements. This strip of paper is 5 1/4 inches, but we're going to be cutting off majority of that. So we're going to stamp our sentiment, which is Get Well Soon, and I'm using the Early Espresso ink. Okay, Paula, yeah, I love this stamp set. It's pretty. Yeah, be sure you catch me on YouTube, and be sure that you subscribe and share it with your friends. Tell everybody about me. Hope it's all good. Okay, so we're going to stamp that and see how straight we can get it. And that's not so good. Let's turn it over and try it again. That one's better. It could be better, but I'll take it. Okay. And then I'm going to bring my scrap paper in here again because we're going to stamp some of those smudges on there also, just to kind of age it a little bit. And I'm going to stamp that off again. And just along the edge a little bit, just to give it a little character. All right. And I'm going to take our punch, which is the Banner's Pick-a Punch, and we're going to be using the flag one here. And I'm going to turn that over, and we're going to punch that edge like so. And I'm going to kind of eyeball where I want it to be, and I'm just going to chop off that end. And hopefully I get it somewhat straight. And we're going to put that up on dimensionals. And I'm using the mini dimensionals to do this. So I'm going to put probably about 3, one in the center to help support the middle. And I'll go ahead and pop those off. Okay, and then we're going to add that to our bottom layer here. And match it up to the right side and then bring it on over. So this is how it would look. So now we're going to glue all of our layers together. And I'm thinking, I'm going to go ahead and do our stamping of our inside. This is also the crumb cake, which measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And we're going to stamp our sentiment on the inside of that. But I'm also going to stamp another flower on the inside. And we're going to stamp that off one time. And then stamp it in the center of that. And it's just real faint. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera very well. It's real faint. And we're going to stamp our sentiment. And like I told you, I was going to take off those last 2 words on the sentiment, which is, it says, and yours. We're going to put some Scotch tape over that. This is how you can make your stamped sentiments work for you more. You don't necessarily have to have the whole sentiment on that you're working with. You can make it your own. So we're going to stamp that, ink that up, and then be sure you take that piece of tape off of there before you go to stamping, because you will have a mess. And we're going to stamp that in the center of our flowers over here. And I'm just going to press that down. So it'll be just like this. And now we can glue that to the inside of our card, and then we'll do our outside layers. And, oops, I grabbed the wrong side. Oh well. I had that one marked inside, but I grabbed the wrong one when I was doing the outside image. That's all right. They're both the same size. Or no, yeah. Okay. this is our first mat that we're going to put down. And this one measured 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And I'll kind of give the measurements as I go again in case you missed them. And we're just going to keep a small border going around. And then the evening evergreen was 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And we'll put that on top of the other one. And we're going to keep a border going around that. And now we're going to glue down our stamped image and embossed. And when I use the embossing folders, I like to put a little extra glue because sometimes it just takes a little extra adhesive to make it stay. So I'm going to make sure my card is going the right way. I did stamp a card earlier and I put the front of it on upside down on the wrong side of the card, so that does happen. So be sure that you're looking at your card to make sure you've got it going the right direction before you glue anything down. Okay, so here we have our card front, but I'm going to bling that up a little bit. We're going to come in with our Wink Stella, and I'm going to just do the tops of the cone flowers. It kind of brings that early espresso out a little bit more than what it shows otherwise. Just the stamped image. So we've got a little bit over here. And I think that's the last one, just those 3. Yeah. And then I've got some colored jewels that are the 2021 to 2023 color jewels. And I'm going to use the Evening Evergreen jewels. So I'm going to get my Take Your Pick tool. Let me put this away. And I'm just going to use 3 of the small ones of the Evening Evergreen. And I'm just going to place them up in the corner here. And one right there. And then I'm going to put another one on the sentiment, which I think I'll put it right there. Okay, so here's our first card. Get well soon. And then the inside says, praying for blankets of healing around you. Okay. Smudge there. So that's our first card. So let's go with our second card. Our second card is going to be our fall card. And Wednesday is the first day of fall. So, I know there's been a lot of leaves falling lately, so I guess it might be fall. Alright, so here's our card. It says, the changing of leaves reminds us that new wonders are just around the corner. And we're using that same paper. And I've die cut a leaf out. Let me get my things out of the way and switch over trays here. Get my bits and pieces. Okay. Got a little bit of everything here, so I don't need that one yet. I need this one. So this is the Beautiful Leaves dies. It's a good size pack. It's got the large leaf, and then it's got all the leaves that it cuts out here, and a bird. And this goes along with the Beauty of Tomorrow, which is right here. This is the stamp set. And we're using this large sentiment here, and I guess that's the only stamps that we're using on that one, and plus the die for the leaf. So we're going to get all of our bits out here, and let me show you the inside of the card also. I stamped the bird on the inside, and the stamp sentiment comes from Nature's Harvest, which, where did I put it? Okay, Nature's Harvest. I used this stamp set right here, the sentiment, a reminder to never forget how much you mean to me and so many others, which I think that's kind of a pretty sentiment. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get some bits and pieces out here, and that's a tongue twister too, and we'll get started. Okay, thank you. Get everything out here. Toss that aside. So here's the image that I die cut using the leaf die. That's going to be our background. So let me get with our base card. That's going to be very vanilla, and that's 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches, and then scored in the middle at 5 1/2 inches. So let's go ahead and burnish that really good. I've got some bits and pieces here, so let me set those aside for now. And our mat that we're using is the basic gray, and that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And I've got our designer series paper, which comes from this Simply Elegant designer series paper, and we're using this pattern right here. So I'm not sure if it's showing on the camera very well. Yeah, sort of. You just can't. It looks better in person than what it does on camera, but that's with a lot of things. It always looks better in person. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start gluing down layers. So we're going to glue down the basic gray first. And leave a small border going around that. Okay. And on the designer series paper, that measured 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/8 inches. And we're going to go ahead and glue that down. You can get all these measurements on my blog, so and all the measurements for any other past cards that I've done also. Okay, and now we're going to take our leaf that we've cut out, and we're going to just glue that down. And I think I'm going to use glue dots. I've got my glue dots that I get from my paper pumpkin, and I kind of like using them because they're a little bit smaller than our normal size. So I'm just going to pick those up, and I'm just going to place these, not on every single leaf. I'm just going to put where I think I want it to be glued down. We don't have to worry about the middle of it because it's going to be covered, so it's going to be just the outer portions. And so hope everybody's had a good week. Mine's been pretty good. It's gone fast last week, and again this week seems like it's going to be flying by again too. So it seems like the older we get, the faster the time goes. I know these young people probably don't think so, but when we get a certain age, it seems like it flies by. Okay, let me get my little dots out of there. I spent yesterday canning pear preserves, so by the end of the day last night I was plumb tuckered. I guess because I was on my feet for, I think, like little more than 6 hours straight. Not used to that. Let me pop those off of there. I'm making a mess here. Alright, and again, I want to make sure I'm not hanging over the edges very much. We can always come back in and trim it if we need to, but I want to have her fairly, all of it on the front of the card. And let me get those bits and pieces out of the way. Okay, so here we have the front with the leaf on there. And now we got another piece of that basic gray, and this measures 3 1/8 inches by 2 5/8 inches, and then another piece of the very vanilla, and that's 3 inches by 2 1/2 inches. And this is what we're going to be stamping our sentiment on. So let me bring that over here, and I'm going to use gray granite ink for this, for the basic gray. I'm going to go a little bit darker than what our background is. So get that inked up, and then I'm going to center that on the front of this very vanilla. And I think that might have moved on me. No, it's good. It felt like it moved, but I guess it didn't. I could have left that open. Alright, we're going to glue that down to our gray, basic gray. I keep wanting to call it gray granite. I don't know. We do have a gray granite and a basic gray, so I get the two confused when I'm saying them, I guess. One's darker than the other. Alright, then center that on the front of that basic gray cardstock. And we're going to leave a small edge going all the way around it. Alright, now this we want to put up on dimensionals. So I'm going to bring out my normal size dimensionals. We're going to place one in each corner and then one in the center to help support the middle. And get my take your pick tool to pop those off. Okay. My mess. I think I threw that one on the floor, which is okay. The broom will get it. Okay, so we're going to put that in the center of our leaves. Make sure I've got it going the right way. See, I had it upside down. I would have had a big mess there. And I've got a piece of hair there. I think I'm shedding like the dog is. And just place that in the center of our card front. And I've tied a little bow using our Simply Elegant trim. And this comes with the gold and silver twine or trim. So I'm going to place that at the bottom corner. And I'm going to use a glue dot here. And I'm going to use the same ones that come in our paper pumpkins. I'm just going to place that down at the bottom corner. I didn't see where that one went to. I should roll that up a little bit because it's not very big. Get it to roll. Okay. Okay. Like this. And then we've got our gilded gold gems, and I'm going to place some of those on there for our bling. And I'm going to be using the smallest ones. This comes in 2 sizes. So we're using the smaller. And I'm just going to place 2 in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm just going to use the 2 because we've got our third bling is right there with the ribbon. So I don't want to have too much that takes away from the eye of the message. Okay, put that in there. Okay, so the inside of our card, I've got another very vanilla, and that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And we're going to stamp our inside sentiment there. I'm going to be using the basic gray ink also for the inside sentiment and the bird. We'll do the sentiment first. And we're just going to put that right in the middle. All right. And to grab the bird. I didn't have the bird. There's the bird. So here's the bird. And I love the way this bird stamps because it's kind of distinctive. Makes it look almost lifelike. I don't know if the camera is doing it justice or not. I'm on a delay, so I'm trying to see if you're seeing it okay. My video's kind of freezing on me. But there's our bird. Okay. And I've got a strip of that same designer series paper, and we're going to put that at the bottom. And this measures 1 inch by 4 inches. It's going to go right across the bottom portion of our inside of our card. So I'm just going to glue that down to our card inside. And I'm just going to butt it right up against the bottom of it. So, and make sure it's all the way down there. And got it a little bit bigger than what I needed, so I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to cut that off. Let me grab the scissors. I don't want glue on my scissors. Okay, these are my old scissors, so I don't really care. Okay, so now we're going to glue that to the inside of our card. Okay. And all right. The extra layer on the inside kind of helps stabilize the card more, makes it sort of more substantial. So that's what I like about doing the inside too. So there's the card on the outside and the inside. So that's our second card. All right, let me put this ink pad away. Put our bits and pieces away here. All right, and then our next one, we're going to be doing some blending with our blending pens or brushes, blending brushes. And I guess we do have to do some more die cuttings. I think I'm going to bring my baby boss back over here. It's a little easier to maneuver on my desk here. There. All right. So here's our third card, and it looks like we're doing good with time tonight. It says, some people are just likable. And then inside it says, you're one of those people. So here's our card. So let's go ahead and get started on that. We're going to start out using our basic black cardstock for our card base. And that's just 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches and then scored at 5 1/2 inches in the middle. So we're going to burnish the edge of that. And we'll set that aside. And then we have another mat, which is, I lost my instructions. Where are my instructions? goodness. They were here. Okay, here it is. So our mat is rich raspberry, and that measures 4 1/8 inches by 5 3/8 inches. And then we've got vanilla, berry vanilla, which measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So we're going to set all that aside for now because we're going to do some stamping and some blending. And we're going to be using the rich raspberry. Where did my ink pad go? I've got my brush here. Well, how can things run away? I don't understand that. I'm looking right at it. Blackberry Bliss. Well, we may have to use Blackberry Bliss instead of the rich raspberry. Huh. How could I misplaced it? Very easily with me, it seems like. It's never too hard for me to do this. So I'm going to change out the color, and I think I'm going to do it the Blackberry Bliss, which is fairly close to the rich raspberry. It ought to be here. I put it away. Of course I couldn't find it. So we're using the rich raspberry. And this is our old stamp pads, but they work just as good as the new ones. So let me get a piece of scrap paper over here so we can do some blending. And we're just going to tap, tap, tap in our ink pad. And I'm going to come off and tap it before I start going on to the cardstock. And this is a little bit darker than what I wanted it to be, but that's okay. We'll have kind of more of a red sky. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I want the little variance of the color there. Okay. Let me get a clean piece of paper, throw this one away. Keep our surface clean here. This has been used a little bit, but it's still good yet. Okay, so we're going to come in with our trees, our flowers. Let me push that ahead. I'm crowding myself here a little bit, so I had to scooch stuff out of the way. I've got the little flower sprigs, and we're going to stamp those off, and then we're going to stamp those at the bottom portion of our card base, card front. And I'm just going to stamp them all the way across the bottom of our card. And I'm going to just raise that a little bit. And another one right there. Okay, and then we're going to come in with the smaller flower. And these are all out of the Beauty of Tomorrow stamp set. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. This is going to be full strength on these. I'm just going to kind of fill in the blank bare spots here. And maybe another one down here. Okay, that's good. All right. So we're going to go ahead and glue that to the front of our card here. Along with that mat, we're going to glue the mat down first. I'll glue this to the mat first. Hope I'm not confusing everybody by saying my things backwards here. Okay. Alright. It does kind of look like a nighttime sky a little bit, like the sunset a little bit. Alright, and we're going to do some die cutting here first. I die cut the rich raspberry out using, this comes from the Ornate Layers dies. And it's this one here that I cut this out with. And it kind of grabbed for some reason. It's okay. So that's going to be our sentiment. And then I have another strip of the berry vanilla, and that measures 3/4 inches by 3 3/8 inches, and that's going to go right in the center of that die cut there. So we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment on there, and which is going to be the one that says some people are just likable, and we're using the rich raspberry ink. And I hope I didn't too much on there, but not rock it because it's all over the place here. Okay. It's kind of a inky one. Let me turn that over. I don't like how that came out. Let me clean my stamp off. I'm using the Simply Chamois stamp cleaner. You can find that in my store. Just do Simply Chamois for a search and it'll bring it right up for you. You just wet it with water and works wonderful for cleaning your stamps. No chemicals. Alright, that one's better. And then we're going to stamp some birds. And I've already got 2 already stamped and cut out. But we need a 3rd one, so let's do one more bird. And where did my bird go? I need to clean that off because I have a different ink color from previous. So we're going to stamp him using the rich raspberry also. And just on this little scrap of berry vanilla. And he looks a little darker than the other two, but they'll get lighter too when he dries a little bit more. Okay. So I need this. And I'm using the rose gold specialty paper. And we're going to die cut that out using, I just had it here, it's right in front of me. We're using the zigzag stitching one that comes from the Basic Borders dies. So we're going to bring our baby boss over here. We're going to die cut the bird and this little border. Get the birds out of there so I don't lose them. And I'm going to close up this ink pad before I put something in it that I don't want to. And with the baby boss, we're using plate number 1 and 2 plates of the number 2. And let me just center this on here. And I'm going to use a little washi tape to hold it in place. So I'll probably do the bird at the same time, but I'm going to run them through separately. Just run that through our baby boss. And take my little piece of washi tape off of there that's holding it in place. And with this, you have two separate ones. It's got the stitching on both sides, and we're just going to pop that apart. You could use one for this project and then one for another project that you have afterwards. So it cuts out two different ones. Let me put that in my magnetic bowl. I did remember to use my magnetic bowl tonight. Somebody had mentioned a couple weeks ago that they had one. I kept forgetting to use mine. So I brought it out and I'm going to be using it. So, okay, so let's get the dies for the bird. And there she is. And we'll cut out the bird. And I'm going to use my washi tape on that also. So let me set this over here so I can get this placed where it needs to be placed. There we go. And we'll run that through. And we'll have our third bird. Okay, and I think we don't need to die cut anything else. So we'll set baby boss aside here. Put up her sides again. My desk is getting smaller and smaller with all my junk all over the place here. Does anybody else have that problem? I don't know. No matter how big of a workspace I start out with, it always seems to get smaller and smaller. Let's throw that away. And we've got our bird. And my die in there so I don't lose it. Okay, so let's start assembling our card. So this is going to go along the bottom side of this. So it needs to be the length of this. So we're just going to go ahead and glue that down, and then we'll trim off the excess. So just a thin stripe of glue, which I think I've got a glue booger going on there. It's not coming out. Sometimes that happens when you leave the cap of your glue off for a while. No big deal. And I thought I had my silicone mat. I'm going to bring that over here so I don't glue to anything I don't want to glue to. So we're just going to match up this end and center it on the top of that. And I'm just going to give it a moment to make sure it's glued good. Being a specialty paper, it takes a little bit for it to the glue to dry. I'm thinking that's good. And we're going to bring in our paper snips and we're going to trim that off. Okay. Put that aside. And we've got another little piece we can use for something else later. Alright. And then our sentiment's going to be glued to the inside of that. And remember, we used both sides because I smudged the one side, so I did it again on the other side. And this is just going to center on top of our die cut. And then we're going to place that all up on dimensionals. Dimensionals. Am I looking right at you? Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and use our black ones here. And I've got cookie barking. I'm thinking I'm going to use this whole strip right here. This is the edges of our dimensionals, which are perfectly good, and they work really great for long strips like this, where you want it to be real secure. So we're going to, first we're going to glue our card front down to our basic black card base. And I'm doing really good with time tonight. I'm really happy about that. We'll be done here in just a couple of minutes. Alright. I'm going to pull the backings off of those dimensionals and attach that down to the lower portion of our card front. And make sure it's straight. Is that straight? Yeah, that's pretty straight. So now we're going to take our birds and we're just going to glue those down to the top of our card front. I'm going to use the darker one. He's going to be our lead bird. He's going to lead the pack here. Or the flock, I guess is what you call it. Oops, I might have quite a bit of glue on there, so I can snitch some of that for our next one. Share the love. And this one's going to be down here a little bit. And this one's going to be flying a little higher. And I think I want to scooch him over just a bit. Here we go. And I've got a piece of twine that I've already tied ahead of time that's going to be a double bow, and that's going to go at the upper portion of our sentiment. And I'm going to bring in my glue dots. Where did they go? Well, I had them, and now I don't. There they are. They're hiding. They kind of blend in with everything. And we're just going to take one of those. And I'm going to see if I can't pop off the backing, so I need to roll it. Okay. So I'm just going to roll it in a ball. And place that on the corner. And put our bow on top of that. And then for some bling, we're going to use I guess I didn't get them out. It's the Genial Gems. We're going to use the goldish colored ones. And I'm going to use my take your pick tool to pop those off. And we're going to use the smaller ones. And I'm just going to place 3 of them on top of our sentiment. And just another. I don't have another small one. So we're going to use 1 larger one and 3 small ones. I don't feel like opening another pack of them. That looks fine. Well, okay, I move this one. Put the larger one at that corner. There, I like that better. Okay, and then you can come back in with the Winka Stella and you can add a little bit of bling to these birds. It kind of blends the colors a little bit more, brings the color out. And Same with this one. Okay. Alright, we got that. Now let's go ahead and do our inside sentiment, which is you're one of those people. So we've got some people are just likable. And this is going to go on our very vanilla cardstock, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And pop this open. I'm thinking I did some flowers on the inside. So we're going to, there's enough ink on this one yet, so we're just going to huff on it to bring the color back out. And that's going to be the top flower. And I'm going to put 2 more down here. And I've got a big gob of ink on my fingers. There's raspberry on the fingers. Looks like blood. Not good. Okay, so now we're going to come back in. I'm just going to use the black memento because we're going over this colored, and I don't think this raspberry will show up really well. So we're just going to use the black memento to stamp our sentiment with over the top of those flowers. And just like that. And close up the ink pads. Some glue on the back of this and put it inside of our card, and then we'll be done for the evening. And I want to thank everybody for joining me. And don't forget to like and share my video if you're watching the replay on Facebook. And if you're watching it after that on YouTube, be sure that you also like that and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell. And that way you'll be notified every time I put a new video up. So I would appreciate that. Oops, we have a little string there. Okay, so here we have, some people are just likable. You're one of those people. And let me bring in our other cards, and then we'll close for the evening. And let me see if I can get all these on camera view. I'm just waiting for my iPad to catch up, so I'm going to kind of pick up a little bit here. I'm waiting for that. Guess I can switch just a little bit this way. There. And so we got a delay on my iPad. It's just getting caught up right now. Okay, so there we have our cards for this evening. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll be telling your friends and family about me to invite them to come see what we're doing. If they're not card makers, maybe they know someone that is. So I'd like to share my love of card making with others. So let me get my calendar out here and we'll see what next week looks like. It will be September 28th already. So I'll be back live next Tuesday, September 28th at 6 p.m. Central Time again. And don't forget about celebration. You've only got a few days left. Let's see, September 30th is a week from Thursday, so you don't want to come back the day after and have missed everything. So like I said, the Bedazzling paper is the only one that's sold out, but everything else as of now is available. So if you have any questions, be sure you email me, and I'll be happy to help you. Okay, so I'm going to say good night to everybody. glad you could come. I enjoyed having everyone here. And we'll be talking to you next Tuesday, 6 o'clock Central Time. Thank you. Bye.